All right, guys, so this is going to be a tricky one, simply because I think it's going to put people in a weird spot because they have an expected answer. And if you know me, you know you're probably not going to get that answer at this point. Um, so if you're looking for a specific answer, I think you've already found your path with this, and I'll get deeper into that in a minute. But um, you're not going to get what you want out of this video, but it is what you need. Um, I had two different people contact me about sound design, and I almost hate to be this blunt about it, but I don't understand why so many people are fixated on sound design when you've got a professional tool like Nexus that has a ton of commercial endorsement, which, by the way, I can't remember which pack it was, but the bass line for the beginning of Alone by Marshmello, I found it in my Nexus, and I used it for my bootleg of Marshmello Alone. A lot of people think I resampled it or I sampled it from the song, like I cut it out of the original and put it in mine. I did not. That patch for Alone, the beginning bass line in Alone, that's in Nexus. I just happened to find the same one that Marshmello used, which I can't believe it, but I did. So my point of showing you this is because so many of you are your own worst enemy, and it's so frustrating to me, and it's such a shame. You're holding yourself back. Um, in short, you wanting to learn sound design is not by nature a bad thing, but it's the equivalent of looking at Ableton and wanting to know how the back end of Ableton works rather than just getting on with it and making music inside of Ableton. You don't need to know the back end of synths and how they work to just get on with it and make music. Now, understand though, if you are someone who is just naturally curious about sound design, maybe you're wanting to go into other things like movie or gaming sound, that's fine. But then be honest with yourself and understand that you're probably not necessarily interested in making somewhat of common dance music then. I'm not necessarily saying commercial because that's kind of a whole other thing. People say like, well, there's commercial dance, then there's underground dance. With what I'm saying, it's all the same. If you want to make dance music, no matter how underground it is or how commercial it is, dance music as a whole, whether it's super popular poppy dance music with pop stars singing on it or super underground stuff out of Detroit, it's all still dance music. Okay? It all still uses drum sounds and synthesizers. And to a degree, there's some level of common understanding and unspoken rules with making music. In our case, like dance music, there's always a bassy kick drum. That's just understood. So the reason why I'm saying that is if you're so fixated on sound design that you have to study it, understand then that you may not be the producer, the music producer that you think you are or say that you want to be. Simply because sound design in and of itself is quite the beast. It's quite the beast. And you taking time to study that is admirable, and it's fine, it's okay, that's up to you. But I do strongly caution you against it, simply because the amount of time that it's going to take, and here we go, I didn't even mean for that to be the case, but look, the amount of time that it's going to take to learn sound design, and then the amount of time that it's going to take to actually, here we go again, I swear to God I didn't plan it like this, to actually sound good. Because it's one thing to take time to learn how to create sounds. It's another thing and a whole other class, a whole other level to create good sounding sounds, professional sounding sounds, sounds that can actually be used in music production. So I really hope I'm driving home the idea that, guys, just buy the car and use the car to get to work. Stop wondering how tires are made. Okay? And if you're into that, then go get a job at a rubber tire factory. If you're into sound design, get out of this academy, because this is for people who want to become artists. This is for people who want to become producers and DJs and develop a brand and market themselves. If you're interested in deep synthesizers, synthesis work, deep sound design, go intern for a gaming company. Go to school for that. Go intern for a film company. Go to school for that. It's not to say that that doesn't have a place here, because it's similar to mixing. If you're absolutely obsessed with mixing or absolutely obsessed with mastering, you see, all of these are parts of the pie that I'm presenting to you. It's just that some people want to jump off the artist development train and concentrate on something like sound design or mixing or mastering, but they just haven't been honest with themselves yet and jumped off the train. I am presenting to you an academy that shows you what you need to know to get up and going as a brand, as an artist, to get out there and start building a fan base. If you're so obsessed with mixing that it's all you think about and you don't care so much about production, or in this case, if you're so obsessed with sound design that that's all you think about and you really don't care too much about production or mixing or mastering, and even more importantly, red flags here, if you don't have interest in building a fan base, if you don't have interest in marketing yourself and putting money into that, then get out. Because more so what you want to do is sit behind a computer and learn about sound design, which is fine. This is more oriented towards someone who wants to be in front of a crowd, wants to be a charismatic DJ producer, and wants to be more like the guys you're seeing here. Kashmir, Tiesto, Kygo, okay? Steve Aoki. Okay? Nothing wrong with either. I'm just trying to make you aware of the pitfalls and the possible criticism of people saying, well, you don't want to teach sound design. Listen, you don't need to know how to change the oil in a car in order to just have it run. I don't care how Nexus does what Nexus does. I don't care how Vengeance does what Vengeance does. I don't care how Loopmasters does what they do. I don't care how Sennheiser does what they do. And I don't care if you get your MIDI files from a website or if you play them on a piano organically and make your own MIDI files. All of these are tools at your disposal, and if you're ignoring them, it's your own damn fault. If you're not able to complete a track, and yet I've given you this resource, and this resource, and this resource, and this resource, and these resources. And going back to this resource, by the way, look at synth presets. Look at MIDI. Look at DAW presets. Look at one-shots. Look at loops. Guys, you have everything that you need. My biggest concern is, are you ignoring the tools that you have because you're more obsessed with how the hammer gets made in the factory than you are with just buying the damn hammer and driving the nails into the wood? Who cares how a hammer is made? Is your goal to be a hammer maker, or to use a hammer to complete your home project so that you can move on with the other things that you need to do in your business? So I know that's not the example, or I'm sorry, I know that's not the lecture that you thought you would get on sound design, but I'm not going to teach it. I'm not going to teach it because you don't need to know it in depth, and there's so many other better tools out there that are literally going to save you anywhere from a year to a half of a decade if you would just take advantage of these tools. Save yourself 3 years, save yourself 5 years, and take advantage of the tools that I've shown you. Get off the idea that you need to be the perfect sound designer. Get off the idea that you need to know Ableton inside and out. Get off the idea that you need to be a perfect mix engineer. 90% of mixing is with the faders in your DAW, getting the volume level right, and looking on a spectrograph to see where all the different volumes sit. And I've talked plenty about that in my other courses with mixing and where levels should sit at. The EQ is probably second to that. So volume faders, then EQ. Third to that, it's a bit of a toss-up, guys, because a lot of computer music, if you will, the use of samples and synths don't often require the need for compression. It's not to say that you never use it, but for the most part, you can survive without it. So third in line from volume faders and EQ, maybe a little bit of reverb, but I'm talking small amounts of either room or plate reverb. Nothing epic in my opinion. Large halls and rooms, you don't need that for dance music. And the thing is, or at least not right now in the current trends, the thing is too, when you go to master that stuff, that reverb is going to be so much more accentuated. You're going to wonder what the hell happened to your mix. Do not overdo it on the reverb. So it's kind of similar to the compression. So maybe really in reality then third from volume knobs to EQ might even be some kind of stereo widening tool, maybe like either delay or like just stereo widener. But I get off on a subject here. I'm digressing. The point is, use the tools that I've told you about that you have at your disposal. Stop worrying about how the paint on your car is made. Who gives a shit? Use the car, get to work, move on with your life. I'll see you guys in the next video.